What is up, guys? Lucid here, and another different style video, or not different, but not too frequent style video. Let me actually turn this down just a little bit. But this will probably become maybe a little bit more normal. So I actually am here to kind of give an update on the channel, kind of talk to you guys a little bit, and it's just going to be a little bit longer form, just raw upload. Um, Probably no editing, which ties into what I'm going to be talking about, leading to um, that I am actually going to change the style of content on the channel, primarily just because, or not changing the style, but I don't have my editor team anymore. I actually let the guys go, talk to them, easy enough sort of separation going on with that. It just kind of has to do with the monetary aspect of it. Things are still going okay, still getting views, still making some money, but it just doesn't make sense in the current landscape of where we are at to kind of keep that going. So that's why if there is going to be any editing, it's going to be really infrequent. It'll be very specific videos. Maybe I'll hire some people out or find some editors or an editor for some things. Otherwise, I think I'm going to keep the content very straightforward and just what I can do on my own. I just had these sort of raw uploads back in Halo 5 before Infinite, probably before many of you actually were really even watching. Um, it's going to still probably primarily be VOD content. I'm going to just do some raw uploads. Then I'm going to do some maybe catch-up videos like this with some gameplay in the background, um, or have like some articles or something to kind of go over, which we might do in this video. I'm really not sure how long I want this video to be. I might even do a separate video to kind of talk about some other things going on. Currently, what day is it? It is February 3rd. The new update. So I'm gonna probably try to put this video out today. Um, since it is just an upload, there's no editing needed. Um, New updates coming out tomorrow, so I actually on stream went over the big changes coming, and that might be its own video. I don't really think I want to get into it this time around, but again, going back to it, getting a little sidetracked. Yeah, Halo's been in a weird spot, obviously, for quite some time. Things are still going okay. You know, we're still keeping the scene alive. Year 4, HCS season year 4 is going to be an exciting one. Had our big announcement. I'm now on SSG, as many of you know, with myself, EcoStellar, and Snakebite. So I'm really looking forward to getting started with those guys. We just actually had our first tournament. We literally just all spawned in together for the first time yesterday. The tournament, we didn't have the results that we wanted, but it was just sloppy, just online play after not playing for about 5 months, all four of us. So it's all good. We got our fix in for that, and real practice, will definitely be starting up in the next like week or so. This is another one of those videos where if I start to ramble, I'm going to try to catch myself, but sorry if that is the case, and I'll try to stay on track. One thing that I do want to kind of bring up is that there's definitely been a lack of a personal touch to the channel, which is kind of by nature. Obviously, I wanted to keep the content streamlined and consistent, and with editing and certain uploads, I just need to get the content out there. And for a while, that's been fine. But I also do think there's like a certain, I read the comments. I try to keep up with how like the YouTube videos are doing, and see what people are saying. And I mean, this goes even with my streams too. And people are talking about me complaining, or like frustrations, or why is he complaining so much? And many people understand. And there's also a layer to it where it's like I'm not disingenuous. Like I know I shouldn't be complaining as much as well, and should have like maybe a little bit more personal touch, or certain titles, or certain videos, or kind of clickbait, or this or that. And like it's definitely true. Sometimes a little bit blown out of proportion. Sometimes just on the dot. Um, but I mean, it definitely stems from the frustration with Halo. A lot of it. I mean, the year that we had as a team, the year that Halo's had in terms of lack of content and support was really dry this last like year 3. So it's definitely been tough, I think, to kind of retain the positivity and light at the end of the tunnel type of feel, which, funny enough, we finally have reached it to a certain degree. I'm sure there's still going to be things to obviously complain about, but I feel a lot more rejuvenated personally with the new team and these new setting changes that are coming that I think will just make Infinite feel more like Halo. Just my little side note feel on talking about that subject. But again, back to the YouTube, that all kind of coincides together. So I think this is kind of like a double, or it's kind of like a bittersweet. I do think it's actually not that bad to maybe be where I'm at now with kind of stepping away from just like the hyper curated like standard YouTube content and trying to figure out and just still maintain the same, not style, but same type of uploads. I'll still be getting like some good games out there. I'm still going to try to upload some breakdowns, my thoughts on settings or this or that, like that type of thing will still be the same. But it's going to all more probably become what this content is right now. Again, it's just not going to be edited, highly edited really at all. And then maybe some in the future will, if it really feels like it needs it. And it'll be kind of an ebb and flow. We'll figure it out. We'll try and figure out if this content is good enough, which I think it will be for where Halo is right now. Because in the future, I want to get back to it, and I think I'll find another editor or editing group or whoever when Halo is kind of picking back up, and it just makes sense to do that. So that's kind of where I'm at with that currently. I'm trying to think if there's much else to it other than that. I feel like there's other things to really kind of go into, but I'm kind of drawing a little bit of a blank. But yeah, I mean, it's just that. That's pretty much the main thing I wanted to get out there to kind of talk about. And I am still looking forward to the future of Halo. I think at least in the year 4, there's a lot of good things going on. Shopify, TSM just got partnered. Sen and Quadrant obviously are no longer HCS partners. Just trying to take a recap of like this last week and like what's going on. So that's big. Like I said, the settings changes are a big thing. Also, I've been sick for a while now, and so that's why I'm very stuffy. So, pardon the congestion for what you're listening to. But I do think, at least for my own like personal brand of like what I bring to content too, I do think I have a better grasp on like kind of doing some longer form content and kind of just talking to you guys. I actually do enjoy these sort of discussions. I do enjoy the breakdowns and the longer form talks. So I do think that this is a good thing for the channel, like I said, to a certain degree. And I'll try to still maintain just the personal touch a little bit better in the future going forward. And trying to actually just figure that out. Just figure out how to do that a bit better. 'Cause like I said, I do think there is a lack of and loss of the personal feel to the YouTube channel to a certain degree, and that's not that's just like my own fault, realistically. And it was never really like a huge deal or anything like that, but I do think it definitely will help long term to try and make sure that that is not going to like remain the case. But yeah, I mean, you guys can just let me know how you feel about this sort of discussion, sort of talking of what is going on, and update, recap. I don't know, podcast style of just talking, just letting it kind of breathe and be as it is. 'Cause I feel like this sort of style of content has been more popular and people enjoy it and are okay with like letting the content just kind of breathe a little bit. So that's at least the impression that I get. Trying to think of like other stuff that I want to get into here. I'll actually let's see. Let me pause this game. Pause that. Because that's pretty much the majority of what this video I wanted to get off and get out there. But I think I might do a quick recap of the HCS settings because like that is something that I still want to have maybe a more concise discussion about. So let me pull this up real quick while you guys wait. So we can do a quick crash course on what's to come with the spring update in Halo Infinite that's coming out tomorrow. I'm going to try to keep this concise, keep it to the point, give my quick thoughts on what is going on. So let's do this. We'll swap over to this off the gameplay. And one last thing before we move on to sort of the settings talk and the update talk. Content schedule, I'm going to try to keep pretty similar. It's really not that hard for me to just pull YouTube or to pull games off my Twitch VODs and just kind of upload them. I honestly could probably even up the amount of uploads, but I'm probably still going to kind of keep it, 3 videos a week, 3 to 4 videos a week maybe, and try to find a balance and see what I'm comfortable doing and if I want to do more. But it's really not that hard, so I do want to keep the content still consistent, but again, it's not going to be that edited, curated, uh, dubbed, and cut up gameplay. It'll still just be more raw uploads. So yeah, that's just the recap on me, what's going on, how I'm feeling. Like I said, doing good, doing great, doing a lot better, I think, just mentally with the time off. It's been a very long off season, and I'm looking forward to the future. And so here is the future with the 2025 spring update in Halo Infinite. And how the system works now is the major update is actually the first one, Frontlines, and then there's like these 2 smaller operations to follow suit. But the main update in the future is what it sounds like is going to be the primary update with the follow ups, with 2 follow ups. And to start off with, we got a new weapon, which doesn't really affect us in comp, I believe. I think this is really just going to be for casual play. And I don't anticipate this to be in. One thing that kind of bothers me is that people are getting upset with, like, really upset. Like, it really is just the casual player base just really being upset that this is not a standard true fuel rod, which I get it, but people really need to understand how spread thin the Infinite dev team is. Like, there are very few people actually still working on this game. And I don't know the exact number. I just know that it is really, really thin. And it's because they're primarily focusing on the future of Halo, which is a good thing. That is where the majority of resources should be put towards because Infinite was um, not, especially at the start of the game, was not developed properly. And, pre-launch and whatnot, like they really struggled and they did not put their best foot forward with getting that out there. Um, but there is a certain level of like there's still interest in Infinite that I think this game needs, an extra 5-10% of the studio back on it. It's needed it this last year, but for what they can do with how few people are on it, this is a win. Like something like this is a win. The fact that we're still getting updates is a win. Now it shouldn't be this way. It's Halo, Microsoft, Xbox's flagship title. They don't really treat it as such anymore, but that's really the way that it should be. And so getting something like this could have been just a weapon model like a lot of other things that just look like a fuel rod or is, something interesting to look at, and it was still a spanker, but it's actually a fuel rod. Or at least, a variant of a fuel rod, but it has like a spanker look on it. So it's like this is something that is like the realistic middle ground that has been reached with where we're at in terms of Halo Infinite development. So not really where we should be and should not set a precedent like this is okay for all Halo, which I don't think 3-4 or Halo Studios, I don't think Halo Studios believes that, but this is what they can do for what they have. So shout out to them for still actually putting out something. And they're supposed to be, I think they revealed that the mutilator shotgun, the rumored mutilator shotgun, is supposed to be coming in like the summer. So we're gonna keep moving on. There's the free and premium pass. There's an update. I think the first 20 ranks of the Operation Pass are gonna be it's gonna be like 1 full armor set, but then there's 50 for the premium, and you can get up to 4 armor sets, which I think this is what all 4 armor sets are gonna be in the front lines. So kind of interesting, or a little bit better, I think, in terms of value, because I think they're upping the premium price, but there's more value to it. and then you can buy these separately in the shop later on. Moving along, I think there is some FOMO that people were talking about also with the operations or with the Operation Premium Pass, where I guess you could buy the premium passes even after the operations were done, but you're not going to be able to do that now. But you can still buy them at any point and then complete them at a later point, even if the operation is finished. So if you buy it the very last day of the operation, as long as you bought the premium pass, you will have that one forever. But if you didn't buy it, you cannot buy it again, which I think is okay. I think is okay. Like we have at least a full month to hop on the game to buy spend $10 to get it, and then the value at least is there. It's ten bucks for 4 armor sets. Sure, whatever. It's good. Earnable stuff needs to be in the game. Needs to be in the future of Halo and cosmetics, monetization, cosmetics. Side note: we've talked about this plenty of times, but we need earnable things in Halo. Can't just be all just paid for. Just really cannot be. Assault. Assault is coming in. New game mode or old game mode returning, but new game mode to infinite. Um, most of you know what it is. Should play probably pretty standard. It's going to be almost like a flag. Like I think of it as like a flag alternative, just because it's like very stagnant, not stale spawns, but it's very strict spawning, like flag, and then you grab. It should be a neutral bomb, so the bomb's going to be in the middle of the map, and then you actually take it to the enemy base, not your own base, that type of thing, and you plant the bomb. I don't know if it's gonna play great, but I don't see it playing like terrible. Like I feel like that's how Flag even is in Infinite, where like Flag is pretty decent. It's kind of hard to mess it up. And at least with the spawn system in this game, spawns and Flag make the most sense. So I would think that Assault should be kind of the same. And I think Assault. We'll actually look at the maps that's gonna be on in a little while. Sandbox updates. The sandbox updates are the biggest thing going on with this update. Heatwave nerf. Um, So it actually rounds per second. It is shooting slower. So it shoots a bit slower, and I believe the vertical distribution pattern is more spread out. They show this in the stream, so they don't actually have examples here in the article. I don't think it's just like the raw values, which is fine. But it's gonna be harder to sort of cross map with the heat wave, which is fine. It's a shotgun. Shotgun's probably how it like all these changes should have been changes that were in the first year of the game because this has been plaguing the game for 4 years now. So these are pretty late. These are pretty late to the party. So these are good changes. GAs should be off the table. I'm really happy to say that we should be trying to play with everything in play again because everything that we have GA'd has been um, tweaked. And it's worth to give a shot. So Heatwave being a primary one, Stalker's been always pretty insane. Only thing that changes is that's a little bit slower rate of fire, which I think is fine. I think is pretty good. Bandit can contend with the Stalker pretty consistently, but the Stalker needed something. So this is probably that small something that will definitely help out. Disruptor, from what I saw, the disruptor is more so it expands. The bloom of sorts is wider, so it's harder to probably hit those long range disruptor shots, which is fine. Disruptor probably didn't even need to be a part of the GAs, in my opinion. I kind of talked about it because I was like, the disruptor is probably going to be kind of strong in our pro cord months and months ago, and then everyone's like, all right, well, yeah, we'll just toss it in with the bulldog and the AR and all that. So it was probably a little bit way too OD to just toss that in right away, but it's okay. It probably still needed something, and this at least helps it. Also, big thing with most of these, or with a couple weapons as well, is that the ammo is going to get reduced, which this is a really good thing. This is a very good thing. AR needed it, Disruptor needed it. It's okay to have some of these, slightly stronger pickups for comp play that are not considered like true power weapons. And then now there's only one extra clip. So that is a good thing. I'm pretty certain Disruptor right now is like an 8-shot kill if you hit all 8 of your shots. So, that's 24. That's 3 kills. You hit every single shot. But people are probably going to miss some Disruptor shots or whatever. It's not that hard to like take a few shots and then just like walk away from a Disruptor. So that's impactful. I think this is a good thing. I think this is definitely a good thing to try out and bring back. And Bulldog. funny enough, they did this to the Bulldog, which is a good thing, slowed it down, took away the headshot multiplier, which I actually never knew was a thing. Um, but it's no longer in comp play. They took out Pit, which had Bulldog, and they swapped out the Bulldog for a sidekick on Streets. So there is no shoddy in play anyway. Um, so they did this, and it really only affects the casual player base at this point, which is probably still fine. I mean, realistically, the Bulldog probably, I think these two are probably still reasonable, I guess, at the end of the day. I'm even thinking about like maybe infection or something. Like I remember people talking about how the Bulldog kind of breaks down infection. That's why like the original shotgun was needed. Blah 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 blah. So this is probably actually realistically fine. Thing is, too. Side note, sidetrack. Sorry, rambling again, but I picked up on a lot of just like casual players getting mad that there are nerfs coming to the game and like how this is just like terrible. And I just don't think that is the case in terms of the balance of a not even just truly competitive, but like if you're playing in a PvP environment, even if it's a casual playlist, like it's still competitive by nature. Like someone's winning, someone's losing. So these things that have never been touched, now being touched 3.5 years later, is like it's about time. Like something needed to change, and these are not completely drastic. This was already so not that noticeable, even to me. um, but it's pretty insane nonetheless that I think some people are just saying that the update is just terrible because they're seeing all of this. And I don't. I just think there are a certain group of people or Halo fans that once they see that there's supposed to be an update coming to Halo, that unless it's practically a brand new Halo game where there's 10 new maps, 10 new weapons, 10 new vehicles, they are not happy. They are not happy. And it kind of bums me out because this discourse between casual and pro player, and then people are talking about how pro players ruin everything. It's like, it's kind of crazy to me to see some of the discourse surrounding it when that is the case. Like, certain things are just overpowered and they just needed a little bit of a retuning. It's not completely broken. It's just a little bit of a retuning. Um, it just makes things a little bit more difficult. And at the end of the day, like making games in general, I feel like nowadays a little bit more difficult actually expands the enjoyment that you could probably get out of some of these games because I feel like every game is so overtuned to make everyone feel like they can do anything at any given point that means that like at any given point you're the one getting messed up. Like you're getting shot, gunned down too easily compared to what you probably could have. It's just like the skill expression is just like so much smaller. I feel like in a lot of games nowadays because of that, and also the technology is just catching up. It's really expanded. All these new controllers that a lot of us are using allows that too. It's just like a lot of people are getting better, so it's probably best to have these tunings. All right, sidetrack over. Moving on to the shock rifle. This is one of the more important ones as well in these nerfs. Shock rifle auto aim magnetism from the hip is reduced. It's too early to say how impactful it is since we haven't gotten our hands on it, but at least from like the auto aim angle, like that's like a 60% nerf right there. 60% like reduction in the auto aim angle. I don't know exactly what these values mean, but just some of these numbers I feel like are probably pretty reasonably a good change. And the hip firing for shock rifle has been insane. The entirety of the game has been a thing. It is less of a sniper. It's more like a super buffed rifle, like standard rifle, like a BR that one shots, like type of feel in terms of how people move around the map with it. So this is a good thing. AR, AR's been in a weird spot, and this is definitely more of the casual weapon that people complain about, which is okay. But initial accuracy is back up, which is a good thing. It was just going full bloom. It was practically in the same boat as the SMG that they just released like a few months ago as well. It was almost in the same boat, but the AR had more range. But they both served the same purpose of just being like bullet hoses. So I think this adds uh, a little bit more range to it whenever you get that initial accuracy. I'm trying to remember. I don't know exactly. This must be how quickly the accuracy um, goes like full bloom is what these values are for. Um, and then besides that, they took away the headshot multiplier, which is a good thing. I think this is good for competitive, especially. I think it gives it an argument to bring it back. 36, again, this is another big one with like how the disruptor was. There's only one extra clip in the weapon. So I think this is a very good thing. And it definitely lends itself to allowing it to creep back into competitive play and not have nearly as much impact as it did before. Because this is literally 4 clips previously. It's like it probably takes about a half, if maybe like 20-ish bullets to get like a relatively easy kill. But without a headshot multiplier, like we're probably damn near using like a full clip to kill somebody. Maybe still in that. I mean, headshot multiplier wasn't too crazy, but it was a few extra shots or a few less shots. You got your headshots. So it's probably still close to like that half to 20-ish bullets kill range. And that means that, I mean, at max, you're getting 4 kills. Like, not even 4 kills. It's probably more like 3. And even then, it's just like you're probably not getting 3. You're really probably not. Um, Again, I think the weapons sandbox definitely adds a layer of just knowledge to the game. It does. It does if you're the one holding it, not necessarily guarantee some easy kills, but it can lend itself to getting some easier kills. But then the outplay potential around it is also the sort of dance that has been needed, that has been gone for the last like 6 to 8 months in competitive play. Um, so I think bringing these back will definitely be a nice thing. Grenades, frag, grenade physics. This is also a big thing. Again, all these things are big things. These are very good things for just the Halo feel, in my opinion, of what is to come with this spring update. So I think this has to do with the bounciness of grenades, which this might even help. Talked about it in my stream a little bit. This might even help with grenades not getting stuck on geometry as much on the ground, at least. But grenades are going to bounce a bit more, and I think this means like you're going to have to be a little bit more precise with how you're placing your grenades. The grenades are not going to hit the ground and then just kind of bounce or not have like a sort of shallow bounce. Like they're going to bounce a bit harder now. So you need to practice. You're going to need to time, or not time, but you're going to need to just place them a little bit more specifically. And the values that they're even doing here is not too crazy. But it's definitely still noticeable. If you watch the stream, watch the videos, they probably have it on HCS or Halo, probably has it on their YouTube channel as well. Um, you could probably toss that up and get an idea of what the bounciness looks like. Grenade cast time. This is also a big one too, and it shows the comparisons between older Halos. Infinite, you could just chuck grenades left and right, 2 of them, 4 of them, get your insta-splodes off, drop a nuke into a corner because of how quickly you're throwing them, compared to even the older Halos for how slow you used to throw them. It is just a bit slower now. Now we're at that 0.92, which is, I guess realistically, it's closer to like the Halo 4 margin, a little bit slower than Halo 4. Which is a good thing. This also actually in turn affects how quickly you can pull your gun up. In my stream, I actually went over this a little bit. Um, excuse me. Went over this a little bit. Sorry. And these like this type of change, and then the one coming up with movement definitely have more implications than I think people realize, or will come to find out. I guess realistically, um, it's gonna bleed into the gameplay more and more for I think a more concise Halo feel. It's not perfect, but I think this is a bit closer to what we've been looking for, what a lot of people have been looking for with Infinite. Even though Infinite, I think, is still, again, a lot of people praise it. I agree. Like I think there's definitely praise to be had for the gameplay loop that Infinite has, but in terms of just like the raw Halo feel, this is the update for that. So strafe acceleration, jiggle peak meta should be dead. Jiggle peak meta should be dead with this update. You're still going to be able to jiggle peek. It is just going to be a little bit more in line with older Halos, with not allowing you to just constantly spam on a wall and hit that corner. Or like I'm trying to like be more in line with the camera to kind of show the corner aspect of it all the way out here, and then just like spamming the corner. Um, so it's just the acceleration though. Your max speed is going to still be the same. Your max speed is still going to be your max speed. It's as fast as you can go. That doesn't change. It's still the same max speed. However, it's just the initiation. It's the initiation of like, oh, I want to move forward or I want to move back or I'm going left, now I'm going right. Like that initial thought of like, I'm going to change my direction is just a little bit slower. It's 22% slower. And I've already tried this out in custom games on 80% because that's what we can tweak in game is by 10% values. On 80%, it feels a lot better. It is a lot harder to jiggle peak on that on these settings. So it is a very big deal. This one's a very big deal. All of them are a big deal, but this one, shock rifle nerf and grenade cast times, I think are the most impactful to competitive play, realistically. And I mean the bulldog being out and the heat wave getting nerfed, like they all impact competitive play. This is definitely like a competitive oriented, but I think it is definitely for the health of the game as a whole. Like I feel like most casual players shouldn't even really feel the effect nearly as much. Maybe like the shock rifle nerf, they'd probably feel a bit. Maybe the AR nerf they feel a little bit. But I think the competitive players feel it the most. Um, so that is from the sandbox perspective what's being changed. Origin Coliseum from Halo 5 is being added. We're gonna try to do a little bit more rapid fire. Coliseum's getting added. I've walked around the map. It looks great. It's one of the best Forge maps I think I've seen so far in the game, being added to competitive. I'm really excited to play it. Uh, let's see. New mode, Assault, of course. Score to win is 3. It's going to be on Aquarius. It's going to be on Fortress. So we get to try those out. Ranked squad battle. I think a lot of people have been, like, just a lot of casual players have been wanting just a ranked, larger scale game mode. So they're bringing that in. A bit late, but it's coming in. And then there's actual existing rank map updates coming. Camo is replacing OS on Aqua, Threat Seeker on Hydro. I think this is like Car 2, what we call Car 2, where the plasma pistol is. I think those sticky nades are going to be the Threat Seeker. Pit is actually no longer in play, but these pit changes would have made Pit probably play a bit better. But Pit's been in rotation for too long, so Pit being out is, I think, a good thing. Forbidden battle rifle moved to the front of bases. I believe this is in front of the flag post. This should make it so you could probably contest your top hut a bit better, like from your own flag. So for flag runs, this will, I think, help a lot. And thrust is replacing threat seeker on the Mohawks or at Big Door, whatever. This one I think is okay. This one I think is fine. This is a good just like change up just for the sake of change, and adding thrust I think is pretty reasonable. Live fire battle rifle added a turbine, so that means on camo spawn there's gonna be a BR now, which is like okay. I don't know exactly why there'd be that there, but sure, why not? Recharge shock rifle has been placed on a power weapon pad to align with properties of Solitude. This is another small change, but very big for competitive. This is a thing that we've been asking for a while. Shock rifle being on a weapon pad is definitely a good thing. It will reduce how often it is just up on recharge and make it more truly a power weapon that you're keeping tabs on, and it is just not going to have as constant of an impact. On top of the nerf that it has, recharge should feel a little bit more loose, I would say, but people are still going to do what they're going to do. They're going to hit their shots, especially at high level. Commando rifle replaces bandit at bottom mid. Not too impactful. Battle rifle to blue ramp is actually a good addition, I think. This means that when you spawn up top blue, you're going to be able to challenge top snipe a little bit easier. So if you're getting pinned down from somebody top snipe, maybe they have a shock rifle, you can grab a BR at the top of the ramp, and then maybe get some long range shots, maybe even like slide down ramp, shoot top gold or wherever across map. That's a good thing. Streets, like I said, Bulldog is getting replaced with a sidekick. Very interesting choice because I think it would have been fine to try out Bulldog. Maybe they just didn't even want to take the chance. They were just like, just take it off. My only concern, I said this on stream, is that now that Bulldog is no longer on the map, I think Stalker needs to be moved from Red Room and moved towards Market. Like it needs to be more centralized. So Stalker being still, it should be on a weapon pad, like how Shock is now on a weapon pad. Stalker should be on a weapon pad in the middle of market, in the middle of the beast, like the B what was previously the B stronghold on streets, and make it more centralized and just a standard power weapon. Because it's still being like it's gonna spawn on a weapon pad. It's actually more favored for, the seaside of the map, the subside of the map to grab it. You should have to move out in the open of the market to get it, and it should be on a weapon pad so you can kind of tell when people have it and when it's gonna come up. So I think that covers all of that. Matchmaking reset, forge updates, just these additions of things. I'm not really going to go into it. Not too big on. I don't really need to keep tabs on this. So you guys, if you are forgers or really care about those details, definitely check into that. And that is pretty much a wrap. So this definitely turned into a longer video than I was anticipating. A lot of it really stemmed from the breakdown. Wasn't sure if I was going to do this in all one video, but again, that was a full update on what's going on with the YouTube channel, what's going on with me, my team, and what is coming up tomorrow. Actually, like I said, tomorrow, um, in Halo, and the future of Halo for Year 4 is looking really good. Feedback has finally been listened to, and there's some good additions to the game, some really good tweaks to the game. And if you have not played Halo in quite some time, I think this is a good time to hop back in. I think it's a really good time for Halo Infinite to hop back in, give it a try. There is a lot new to the game. Even though if you haven't been playing for quite some time, there have been a lot of good additions from the casual playlist side and just additions of maps and forge maps and things. So if you haven't played in a while, again, I highly suggest it. I definitely highly suggest it with this update. It's been a while since I've really highly suggested something coming out of Infinite, but this is the one that I think is just a good time to hop back in and just give it a test drive. Um, Again, we're all still waiting for the new Halo projects. Not ideal for where we're at, but this is at least something. There's something with meat on it, some substance, for the community, casual, competitive alike. So, let me know how you guys um, feel about this style. I think normally the longer videos, people appreciate. Views aren't too crazy, but I guess I'm not really too concerned about that. But I'll probably try to implement this a bit more and still try to reduce. I really wanted to keep this video a little bit shorter, but here we are again. Like I said, I can always just talk like a podcaster for fucking half an hour or longer, and just keep on rambling. But again, the personal touch to some videos is going to be there. It's just going to be more raw talking and me, and just VOD uploads, and then videos like this talking about what's going on. Trying to think about anything else that's coming up. That pretty much sums it up. I'll cut it here for now. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys as always, and hope to uh, hope to keep putting out some content. You guys keep supporting. So thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.